Here. Ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready for it, man. I just got the notification that you're streaming live.
Let's go.
Awesome. Let's rock and roll.
Mid-Geek rises.
And we're live.
Yeah, as many times as I've heard that nerds, it still gets me every time. Just so thank you
That's
to
how it works. So thank you
for the amazing thing every time. It cracks me up.
Oh man, it's been a week. So
Yeah,
if you didn't, welcome back, Pedro.
Hey, happy to be back. Thanks for the day off last week. As Joe mentioned, I was celebrating my partner's birthday, so didn't want to miss out on that one.
What'd you end up doing?
Nothing. We just had a nice dinner, ate in, and enjoyed ourselves. It was very quiet, very nice. She got some nice gifts, and we had a good time. Baked her a cake with the daughter, which is always fun. So,
Ooh, what kind of cake?
Just a box lemon cake with some cheap frosting. Like, honestly, like those are good.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with box cake, man. Like people love some box cake,
And they're so easy with the kid. You can't. There's no frustration involved, right? You don't have to bring out a mixer and all that stuff. You can literally just do everything right there and then. So it was a very nice birthday. I listened to and joined in on the beginning of the show where you were making fun of me, and then we went from there.
Gotta
appreciate that.
Gotta keep.
It's good to get the shout outs.
Gotta get the shout outs. All right, let's see who's in here. Who's on? Oh, dinner Chuck
E. Cheese. I don't know if that's a he has bad taste joke or a different kind of joke, right? Like, why would I take my wife to Chuck E. Cheese unless she's a kid? No, that's no good. That's no good.
Well, we had a wonderful conversation about how Chuck E. Cheese is removing their animatronics last week.
Oh, are they?
Yeah. So they're pulling their animatronics because they're really creepy and they're gonna go a different direction. So
I wonder if it's also because they just couldn't find people to repair them.
I was saying that too. I was like, repair costs has got to be high.
It's got to be sky high. Some guy named Joey who walks around from restaurant to restaurant. He's the only guy who knows how to fix Chucky.
I just kept saying that. What is it? Five Nights at Freddy kind of ruined it for everybody.
Oh, that works. Yeah, that's true.
You've got a game that made kids terrified of like animatronics. So like first things first, it's got to go, man, because the kids are terrified of them now.
It's fair. So thanks for joining, Rolls. Appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, thanks, Rolls. Yeah. So what do we talk about this week? This is the Thanksgiving week. It's going to be a nice long one. I work tomorrow, and then I'm heading out of town to visit family. We'll be gone all week for the rest of the week. So
I'm doing a Friendsgiving, and then on the weekend I'm having a Nerdsgiving. So folks are coming over, playing some board games, hanging out, doing some awesome things. Couldn't really get a big turnout this year. I think a lot of folks have decided to travel this year, so it should be nice and intimate with some board games.
Yeah, so let's talk about the holiday, and then let's talk about the aftermath of the holiday. Something that we should talk about, and I should have told you, Black Friday.
Black Friday, yes.
So the consumerism in all of us,
the grand tradition
of murdering people for low-priced TVs, happens after the day that you're
I feel like I was getting Black Friday emails for like this past Friday. Like it was like we're having a pre-Black Friday pre-sale.
So as tradition has happened over the past couple of years now, Black Friday is no longer just a day. It's now
like a month and a half. Yeah.
It's a way for them to generate more as opposed to like one day. They're able to like create those deals slowly during the month so that they can make that mark in the black longer.
It's bonkers, dude.
Yeah, man. So anything in sight?
Switch is what I want. I mean, I texted you because you're my Intel expert. I found a few Switch deals. I don't actually know if they're good Switch deals. And then you go online and there's all these like scare articles. It's like if you do a Switch deal, you might get the old version of the Switch. And I'm like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? Oh, thank God for Amazon and Black Friday should be a televised blood sport.
It totally should be. It totally should be. Hey,
we have enough blood sports. We have enough blood sports.
Actually, Zero is going to be our first chat member that has come in through Periscope since we are pushing out through Periscope.
Wow.
Yeah, so that icon right there, that is the Periscope icon. So welcome. So that means he's watching us through Twitter. Absolutely.
Wow, that's the future right here.
Yeah. Oh, here's a Facebook. How can a day of how can a day week if every day is Friday? No day. Yeah, that's right. So if every day is Black Friday, then Black Friday means nothing.
Why do we keep calling it Black Friday? Just call it Black Month Sales, November, Blacksgiving. Wait, that doesn't work. Anyway, I'm hoping for a small TV, or I should say a medium-sized TV for downstairs, like a nice 40-inch to put in the basement, nerd bunker, and a Nintendo Switch to put it attached to it. Right, that's the two big deals I'm hoping for. Should be easy to get.
Yeah, so the deal. So for anybody looking for the Nintendo Switch deals, you want to look for anything in the depending on what you want to go, right? So there's a couple of deals going on starting today. Actually, there was some good ones today, and if you're looking for a light, anything below the 250 range is a good deal. If it's above 250, if it comes with games, that sort of thing. So I've seen 289 with like 2 games and like a case and all that kind of stuff. That's a pretty good deal. If you're looking for a Switch, you want to look for anything in the below 300. If it's over 300, you're gonna want something with a game, a packet of some sort. So that's what I've been seeing. Anything in the 299, 289 range with a game, and usually the games that are packed in are games that are in the $40 range, give or take, at the moment. So
I'm looking for that Pokemon game. That's what I want.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything bundled with Pokemon. So Pokemon Sword and Shield haven't seen a bundle yet, but just wait, it's going to happen sometime either between this Friday all the way up to Christmas. You're going to see some sort of like bundle or package. Anything
also, like Xbox was like 150. I was looking at deals. It was like 149 for an Xbox S.
Yeah. So when you sent me that, I saw that it was like 149 for an Xbox. Are you sure? Because I think Microsoft kind of did this on purpose. They announced the all digital version of the console. And every deal that I've seen has been $150 for the all digital one.
So that's an interesting. So you know what? Let me see if I can find it, because it had a picture of the Xbox, and right next to it was
a white one, and it looks just like the S, but it's now the all digital version. So they've made it so they've made a cheaper SKU that's at the 150 range. When last year I remember being able to get a Xbox One S for the 150, 170 range, 200 range. Now this all digital one means that they're able to keep that S in the $200 range. And
so what's all digital? Isn't that what I have now?
No, so there's no disk drive.
Oh,
yeah. So it's a $50. It's a $50.
So I'm confused. How could it say 1 terabyte all digital?
So it's a 1 terabyte hard drive, all digital, no CD, no DVD, no Blu-ray. So you can't buy a game at the store. For you, that's fine because you're a Game Pass user. But there's for anyone else, they've dropped that other SKU in there to kind of like undercut and keep their other model, which is an older model technically, still above the $200 range.
That's still a great deal for me if I wanted to upgrade, because I don't have an S.
Right.
Literally, the only game I have is Red Dead Redemption 2 in a disc form.
So there you go. So if you've got all digital, the all digital version isn't a bad deal. It's not the X, it's the S without a disk drive. So 150 isn't a bad deal. Yeah, and some of them have come with bundle codes. So I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean the bundle codes aren't the best. I'm like, Minecraft? Doesn't everyone at this point in the universe own Minecraft?
Look, honestly, all they need to do is give me 6 months of Game Pass with that digital copy, and you're good to go.
Oh wow! Look at this is specific for you, Joe. That's a good question. Rolls. Ooh. A faux wood cabinet?
Well, first off, it'll cost you way more in back injuries, moving that, and friends. Let me tell you, if my buddy Adam's still watching, he commented earlier. There's a nice story of him helping me push a 34-inch CRT up some stairs, and let me tell you that I tested his friendship. That day.
I want to say that he still complains about it up here.
He does. It's definitely the most labor anyone's ever made him do, and he'll never forget it. So there you go. 42-inch. You know what, man? 40-inch. I think was the biggest CRT I think I ever saw, and with the wood. The biggest, heaviest behemoths of CRTs are those Sonys. Those last Sony Wegas.
I want to say I had one of those big.
There we go. That's right. So
I know we had one of the old wood cabinet TVs, and we lived in a 4-story walk-up apartment in New York City. Like, I'm trying like, how did my dad get it up the stairs? Who did he enlist and never talk to again? Right? Like,
right.
what was the deal here? Because I
Man.
didn't have delivery back then. You like carried it back in a pickup truck you borrowed from someone.
You know, there was a moment in time where I thought those were kitties, and then I'm getting older and I'm getting nostalgic, and now I look at them and I'm like, man, those are some classy bitches.
Those that wood paneling,
lovely.
Put a coaster on that. Don't put your drinks directly on that wood.
Yeah, always knew when someone was
right there.
Or you had the wood cabinet, and then your mom or grandma or whatever would put a doily over it, the little the lace runner on top. Lovely. So yeah, no, absolutely. I miss those days. Cabinets, those media cabinets. Also, TVs were only like 3 feet off the ground back in the day.
That's true. Now we put them a little bit higher up.
Yeah. So CRTs, man.
We all sat on the carpet right in front of the TV 2 feet away. It was the best.
2 feet away. Man. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. I mean, I've been ramping up. I'm not looking for anything, man, for Black Friday. Like, there's not a single thing I want. I don't think I'll buy anything. This will be probably the third year I haven't bought anything at Black Friday. I haven't. They're just, the deals are there, but I'm not looking for any TV. I'm not looking for any electronics right now. The only thing I might do is maybe some early Christmas shopping.
Maybe some bookshelves and a Superman poster up on your wall. What's going on over here?
Man, it's all sitting over here. It's gonna get there. It's gonna get there for sure. I've got all sorts of stuff and TVs and
if you're a fan of the show, my austere sort of like white wall with the kids drawing and a calendar up there is what I've had pretty much every episode, but Joe's background has changed multiple times, and usually there's a Superman poster back there, and it's been a while.
So I've now that I realize that where the camera's going to go here, these two blank walls right there are going to get stuff on them. So that's for sure. That's going to happen very soon.
Maybe I'll put up a Superman poster next week, and everyone's going to be like, "What?
Wait, what's going on?
Joe's on the wrong side of the screen here. What's going on?"
So let's talk about some of the gaming news, the news that has happened this week, because not a lot, but definitely some interesting stuff as the year wraps up, as the year is coming to an end. We get the same old news. You get the countdowns, the game of the years, all sorts of stuff. The drops of the big holiday games have already started to happen. One of the games that dropped the week before last, since you weren't around to talk about it, was Death Stranding. I'm a Sony guy. I have a Sony PlayStation. I haven't bought it. I'm going to wait for it to drop. It's a Kojima game. It'll drop to about $40 for Black Friday. For
people who don't know, Kojima is...
Kojima, he is the creator of Metal Gear Solid.
Got it. Okay.
So he was part of Konami. Remember, there was a big controversy a few years ago. Konami and Kojima were button heads against creative differences. Kojima took his wares elsewhere and started his own production company. Kojima
Did he lose the rights to Metal Gear Solid?
Yes, Metal Gear Solid belongs to Konami.
Got it.
For sure. So he decided to make his own game. There were butting heads on the fact that he was trying to make the Silent Hills, the horror game with Guillermo del Toro, and they released that big playable teaser called BT on the Sony PlayStation or many years ago, 4 years ago now at least. And everyone was hyped for it. Then Konami canceled it. Kojima got into a big fight with them. He decided to leave because Konami wanted to make palinko machines, and they figured that they make more money that way as opposed to spending money on video games. So he left. He started his own company, and here's his first game in this new company. Kojima Productions.
It's got the guy from Walking Dead, right?
Right. It's got Norman Reedus.
Or spectacular graphics or whatever.
So look, man, I can't talk as someone that's played this game. This is probably one of the most polarizing games I've seen in a long time. It is either you love it because you love the weirdness that is Kojima, or you absolutely hate it. It is like a 2 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10. There's nothing in between. And if there are any in between ones, it's because they can't decide whether they like it or not, because it's such a weird. So the game is a walking simulator. You literally walk. That's the point of the game. You walk, and you're walking, and you're playing a delivery guy. You are a delivery. That's what you do. Your quests or your missions are delivering packages from one part to another. It is a dystopian world with weird ghosts. Deaths should be the BTs as they call them, and your bodily fluids can hurt these ghosts. So you make bombs out of your pee and your blood and your poop. It is the weirdest game. The weirdest game. You should go watch a bunch of reviews on it.
Yeah, maybe I'll just watch a bunch of playthroughs.
Yeah, watch some playthroughs. It's ridiculous. The more packages you put on your back, the harder it is to walk. So the walking mechanics become like a thing that you have to struggle with.
Oh, so you're actually like,
yeah,
in-stick walking. Wow.
Also, it's not multiplayer, but there are multiplayer aspects to the game. So as you're playing the game, as you're doing a specific quest, like you're going to one, like a village or an area to deliver packages, in this dystopian world, let's say you build bridges, you can build things and create zip lines and whatnot. When you create that, you leave it in the world. And as you move on, you can walk up to different places and you'll see the remnants of bridges from other delivery people.
All right. So a little bit of like Dark Souls.
They'll be liked. Like, so they'll actually get likes, and that's your currency in the game. So it really encourages you to build good structures. But also, I haven't read much on the time frame of these structures. So what I don't get is, if I bought the game on launch, obviously there's not a ton of things out there to help you. But then I've heard of people popping in the game now and they're able to transverse the game without any hardship because they're hopping on to zip lines that other people have created.
But also, if you were there first, you probably have a ton of currency.
Right. So there's a little bit of like, how long does that stay? Does it time out eventually? Do I have to turn off the online play so that I can play this game in like a pure form without the help? Like, see what I'm saying? Like, if I get this game Christmas Day, people that have been playing it for the past month and a half.
It sounds like a revolutionary game that polarizes the community, and of course should be. It's going to be nominated for an award, right? Right, Joe?
Yes, it is. And that's good segue, sir. And it is being nominated for Game of the Year for the Video Game Awards, which of course is causing all sorts of controversy because of the relationship that Jeff Knightley and Hiro Kojima have. They are good friends. Jeff Knightley is in the game as an NPC. Wow. And
Kojima's been in the awards like multiple times. Like,
he was nominated for kind of like a lifetime award a few years back after Konami wouldn't allow them to go on stage or be there at the awards a few years ago, and so like there was a big speech that happened that Jeff Knightley kind of called out Konami in front of like millions of people watching it live. So it became kind of a big controversy. So it's an interesting thing. I'm not saying that the game doesn't deserve it. Like Oscar movies, like the movie industry, there's an Oscar season and then there's a cutoff time. And then at the end of the year, there is a good month and a half, 2 months of time frame before the nominees come out. This game came out a week ago, and then boom, the nominees came out and they nominated for the biggest nominee you can give it. Which is not saying that it doesn't deserve it, but it's definitely, there's a timing thing here. Like, I feel this game came out at a specific, there should have been some cutoff time, maybe a month before the nominees happen. Any game after that should be nominated for next year, sort of thing. I don't know.
So it's interesting that there isn't one, right? But I mean, the Game Awards is relatively young, right? From the awards perspective.
Yes, it's young for awards perspective. It's a prestigious thing. It started off kind of silly and it got better and better and it got classier and classier.
It's like 3 hours of video game advertising.
3 hours of advertising. Right. But then, so the people on the board are all three of the CEOs for Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft. There's all sorts of publishers on the board. So it's definitely being run and created by the industry.
It's for the game industry, run by the game industry. I remember talking about it last year. It wasn't even covered in the New York Times. Like, it had like 4 million. It had more of an audience than the Academy Awards, if you count Twitch eyeballs and Twitter eyeballs and all the eyeballs.
Live stream.
It wasn't even covered. Like, no one cared. From an old media perspective, the new media, obviously, like Twitch that we're on, where we're enthusiastic. I think I watched it on Twitch, actually, if I'm honest. So maybe next year they need to have rules, right? Like, what are the rules? Maybe they just need to be more transparent about it, right? This is and it's weird to me that like this is something that gamers get upset about, right? Like, it's a popularity contest. Of course, Kojima's game is gonna get a nod because Kojima's super popular amongst a large group of gamers. And
Right.
The gamer
Right.
and Kojima's more popular with.
Like, have you looked at the nominees? Have you seen the nominees for the Game of the Year?
I haven't. Pull them up. He's
Let's
like a designer for designers, right? Like, people who design games were inspired by him. So why wouldn't he get a nod?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't. The game held no interest to me, and it's also on a PlayStation, so I can't play it. So there you go.
So let's see. For Game of the Year, we've got Control.
Okay.
Death Stranding. Resident Evil 2, which is interesting to see that on there because it's a remake. It's a full-on remake.
Wow. Okay.
So we've got an old game nominated for, it's
I missed the chance this first time around, so here's a chance again. You're right, Rolls. It's really weird, and you don't know all of the people in the. I know the Academy has like 6,000 viewers or something like that,
right?
And they'll get like a DVD of the movie, and they watch it, and they decide whether or not it's the one.
Yeah,
they want to do.
So directors and producers and all that can be part of it, and they it's a peers thing. Like their own peers become part of the Academy Awards. Sekiro: Shadows Die Twice. It's a From Software, and it's the samurai kind of Dark Souls type of game, which is pretty good. I hadn't played it, but Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, which came out last year, right around the holidays, and what came out at a cutoff time where it was a little too late. So this one
was it after the nominations though, or was it the day before the nominations?
In December.
All right.
So definitely, so there is a cutoff time of some sort because it's being nominated for the Game of the Year for this year, and The Outer Worlds.
Oh, all right, that one's gonna win.
I would see though, but Death Stranding is out of all of the big ones. If you look at this entire list, the amount of news, if you want to talk about popularity, the amount of news aggregated for all of these games, Death Stranding has been in the news a lot. Like a whole couple weeks have been nothing but Death Stranding news. Smash Brothers, just because of the amount of content they put out on a yearly basis,
Outer Worlds
and The Outer Worlds. So there's and maybe Resident Evil 2 because everyone was talking about how great of a remake it was. So those are the four I think that are really pushing out of those, and I think Death Stranding might win it.
And God of War was the winner last year, right? It was God of War last year.
Or beat out
Red Dead Redemption 2 and
2.
Oh, Red Dead Redemption 2 was last year. The horse testicles alone. That's right, Rolls.
That's right.
It was super disappointing because Red Dead Redemption looked to be sweeping it last year. So
I think was the justification. I think that was where I was like, good job. They gave it to another game because Red Dead was a good game. But again, it came out so late that I think we had the same conversation with Red Dead. It was like,
it wasn't Game of the Year. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, and also, what's really hilarious about
it stands the test of time.
It's polarizing, right? So like everyone loved it, and now you go and look at any type of comments on Red Dead, and the first thing I read anyone say bad about it is, "God, those controls are terrible. The worst controls in a game." And I'm like, what about how that everyone was so great? Like,
Outer Worlds, I just read an article about someone beating the game in 12 minutes. Like, the game is so intensely customizable that you can figure out how to do speed runs. It was 30 minutes and now it's 12 minutes they can beat the game. And here's the best part. So Outer Worlds is my last pitch for that game if you haven't played it yet. It's like Firefly and Fallout had a hilarious capitalist baby. Like, it's phenomenal. But if you lower your intelligence stats so you can pick your stats at the beginning of the game, you're an idiot and you lose options for quests. So you can literally beat the game in 12 minutes because the dumbest options are always the only ones you could pick because your character's dumb. And you get the dumb ending, right? Because spoilers, you get one of the endings. I think it's the dumb ending, but because your character's so dumb, you can you can speed run the game. So people are slicing this game up and figuring out all the mechanics. And the designers of the games are like, "Holy cow, that's amazing to me."
Yeah, that's great, and I like that.
That's what gamers do.
Nominees for action game, which is here's where it comes down to, like video games, actions, kind of like hand in hand. Almost every game has action, but it's a completely different list. It's you've got Apex Legends. You've got Astral Chain, which was Nintendo, which again a sleeper, good game. Yeah. Call of Duty Modern Warfare, Devil May Cry 5, Gears of War 5, and Metro Exodus. So there you go. So those are the action. And again, no Borderlands on there.
Borderlands 3 is going to miss a bunch of nominations, huh?
So action adventure game. So it's not considered action. It's an action adventure game. Borderlands is on there. Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil 2, Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening.
Put it up so folks can see the whole list of your. They'll read it faster than you can say it.
Absolutely. Forgot I can do that.
They do roles. They actually have some neat categories. So they have like indie game. They have it's a really big breadth of folks that can be nominated. So it's always interesting every year as to what is nominated. Last year, Dead Cell I think won Action Game of the Year.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, or one indie, one of the big ones.
One of the big ones.
What's interesting about this is the Gaming Awards has become the biggest popular one. There is another set of awards that is quieter for the industry, which is the DICE Awards, which is the development awards, where it's just developers nominating themselves within the whole group, and it's kind of like
good job.
But it is a more prestigious awards within that community, within like because a DICE Award means more for a developer than this, because this is again so paid for, so Mountain Dew. I mean, you'll see in a second some of these nominees are brought to you by Pringles, brought to you by Slim Jim. So art direction. Art direction.
What is this Control game? I haven't even. Is this on the PlayStation only? Can I play this game?
I didn't hear much about it. Presented by Samsung QLED. So this one is one that's a whole nominee. Check it out. Sayonara Wild Hearts is art direction.
That's awesome.
We talked about it
we saw that one at PAX East too, right?
Yeah. Gris is on here. Again, that's the very watercolory game.
That's right. Look at all these cool games.
So 2 independent games already for art direction, which of course
But Death Stranding also on there, huh?
I think it's got 9 nominees, which is again another weight.
I see why folks are like, oh, this seems a little shady.
The game that came out a week before the nominees came out got 9 awards. Not 9 nominees. Audio design, Death Stranding again, Control,
Call of Duty Modern Warfare. What?
Man, everyone's liking this version of the game. It's not a very good game, but it's a very beautiful game.
The reload sound must have really got folks excited.
Everything on this list is the same as Game of the Year, except Call of Duty and Gears 5. Everything else is
over and over again. Yeah.
Community support: Apex Legends, Destiny 2, Final Fantasy 15.
Rainbow Six, man, that is like a 6-year-old game.
Yeah, community support, man. And you know what? If I was to pick a winner out of all of this, it probably would be a Siege. Just because we've talked about it before, a developer still developing for a game that old.
It's a huge patch, changing some of the maps around to refresh them to make them more interesting. So that's big.
Content Creator of the Year. So we've got a couple of them on here. And again, these are YouTubers / streamers.
Colorful group, very colorful.
Esports coach.
I'm sorry. It's like you'll leave them right there. Esports coach. That's a new one. I don't remember that one.
Well, you're going to see a lot. There's a whole section of esports on here.
I remember a lot of esports awards last year. Me being like, this is the part of the category roles and everyone listening where I start to feel really old. Where I'm like, I don't know any of these sports stars.
This is a weird part of gaming culture at this point.
I'm so disconnected from esports.
Dude, Counter-Strike, Global Offense is on here.
Well, you got to put something on there besides Fortnite, League of Legends, and Overwatch. Like what? What new games have come out to push things off?
Interesting is Apex, I guess, isn't an esport yet.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, they just haven't built an esport enough.
Yeah, esport hosts. Again, these are people that I don't know. They're hosts, so they're obviously like a big deal. But esports player.
I know there was a player last year. I know. You see, just scroll past this stuff. No one cares about this stuff. They can go to the esports crisis podcast.
Family game.
There we go. That's what we're talking about.
Let's see. Count the Nintendo games.
Ooh, look at Nintendo dominating the category.
Every single one is a Nintendo game. What does that say, honestly, though? What does that say about?
My daughter loves what is it called? Super Mario World on my old DS. I think it was the launch game with the DS back in the day. I still have a copy of it. Yeah, she loves it. and she can draw Mario, Luigi, and the mushroom like no one else. Like she whoop, 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 whoop. And here we are, still nominating Mario games. It's intense.
Look at this. But I mean, what does it say about other consoles? Like, are they just like not even bothering with the kid market, with the family market?
No,
It's just
they're
like,
not bothering with the family
do they just feel like Nintendo's got this? We're just gonna move on to something else. Like, that's kind of sad to me because I feel like Microsoft could make a good family game. Sony could make a good family game.
I feel like they try over and over and over again, and they can't do it. I mean, Spear of the Dragon was an attempt. Crash Bandicoot, like they try.
They're on every system now.
That's
Like
true.
there's all of these games, all 5 of these games are exclusive to the Switch.
Switch, yeah. If they announced the game,
Right, best horror game.
Did you see that Steam banned like 1,000 designers?
Yeah.
Speaking of adult games, goodbye adult games on Steam. Super Smash Brothers dominating the fighting game category. There we go.
Yeah. It's a good list, but Samurai Showdown fell flat, I think, this year. So, fresh indie game presented by Subway.
There we go. Outer Wilds, very nice.
So yeah, we've got a few of them on here. Outer Wilds. We've got My Friend Pedro. I like that one. For Gris, and Untitled Goose Game.
There you go.
2 or 3 nominations. This game direction again. Look at this. This list looks very familiar. Games for Impact.
So I actually got Outer Wilds confused with Outer Worlds. I'm just now realizing the other Outer game that came out.
Yeah. Outer Wilds is
Outer Wilds was a weird one. I could not get into it because of the deaths. You literally I think you only get like 4 minutes to play or 6 minutes to play. It was a very frustrating game for me.
Again, Gris is going to be a good one. I'm excited for that one. I like this game a lot.
Wait, what's the Games for Impact? What is that?
For a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message.
Yeah, there you go, Rolls. All these games. Yeah, look at this. This is a category literally about what you're talking about.
So this is exactly what we're talking about here. These games are great because they're giving exposure, and that's what happened with games like Celeste last year.
Celeste won last year, I think, for best music or best sound.
It won a few awards, and because of that, everyone was on it. And and again, you and I, we've talked about Celeste all last year. We let our kids play it, and it's one of those games that deserved it. We thought it deserved the hype that it was. It was a good game. It won the awards, and because it won the award, everyone started downloading it and playing it, which was great for them.
It helped that Xbox Live gave it away, right? So the Xbox Xbox Pass gave it.
Now here's considering that all those other games are also independent. Here's the actual independent game of the year, and Katana Zero's on there. Untitled Goose Game. Outer Worlds is on there because it is an independent game.
That's Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds. Sorry, Outer Wilds. I know what it is.
Yeah, Outer Wilds. Yeah, I mean, try it. I couldn't get past the
mobile game on here. And Sayonara Wild Hearts is on there again. And I don't know about you, but I've been playing What the Golf. I have it on here, and it is
on
my phone. Yeah, I've got it on my phone and iPad, and it's part of Apple Arcade. It's freaking hilarious. It's like a mini golf game, but like a good example of the gameplay is like you wind up the ball. Like you're like, oh, like most mini golf games, you pull back and you fire, but all of a sudden the hole will move to you.
Oh my gosh!
Or you swing it, and all of a sudden like 50 golf clubs show up, and they all like just like this randomness, or the guy will show up and putt, and then the guy gets thrown into the hole. Like the weirdness of it all. Like so, What the Golf is what it's called.
Get behind it.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. So if you would check it out, multiplayer game of the year again. There's another nomination for Borderlands.
Oh, so Borderlands 3.
Not many, but it does have
Tom Clancy's Division. Oh, Tetris 99.
You know what, man?
Who would have thought we'd see awards for Tetris in 2019?
We talked about it. Remember when it launched last year? At the end of the year, we were like, "Holy crap! What a beautiful concept!"
Ridiculous. Yeah.
Battle Royale Tetris.
It was ridiculous. It's so good.
Narrative, and again, controls on here, man. I'm gonna have to look up this control game and see if it's any good. It's getting a lot of hype.
It is, and there's the Outer Worlds. That's the game I was talking about earlier. That's amazing. A lot of good categories. A lot of good categories.
Look at this. Siege.
I mean, what else are you going to put on there? Division 2?
But I mean, it is an ongoing game.
I think they're launching season 4 or season 5 next year.
That's amazing. That's great. Performance. So this is a good nomination for actors, voice actors, etc. that have done voice work and all that. And so here we go.
Oh wow! You're pulling for Pong 2020. Wait, like an arena Pong, like 100-person Pong. That would be, that might just be crazy enough to work.
This show, man, we talk about we give out too many ideas.
Don't give it away for free, though. Don't give it away for free.
Score and music. Sayonara Wild Hearts Again. Another game that we talked about on the show.
Hyrule a dancing game? Is that a?
It's a great game. Cadence of Hyrule. So it's a fantastic game. They a developer created a music-based game, and then Nintendo gave them use Zelda on it. They made a fun version of the game. So you attack on the beat. So there's a constant beat going on, and so the movement has to be done on beat.
That makes sense. Yeah, this is great. I'm looking forward. When does it? Wait, what strategy game? Just scroll down a little bit. Scroll down. Strategy game. Fire Emblem Three Houses, very nice. Total War Three Kingdoms makes sense. Oh, you know what? I just started playing Wargroove today. That game is great.
What is it about? Talk to us about it.
So, did you ever play? Did you ever play Advance Wars?
Yes.
All right, so it's basically Advance Wars derivative, right? So except it's fantasy. So you're playing like swordsmen and cavalry and healers and stuff like that, and you're rocking out. You're rocking out on these little tiny maps, but it's like real fast and smooth. And it's great. It's just
on Xbox.
Yeah, Xbox. It's actually you could download it on the Xbox Live. It's free to play, so you can.
All right,
I think that one, and I don't know if another one on there. I'm sort of surprised that Oh, what was the other technical game? The samurai game that I was playing isn't on there, but all right. VR. This is a category last year.
So this was a card last year, and I think the winner. I'm going to call it right now. It's going to be Beat Saber.
Beat Saber.
Everyone plays this. This is the rock band / just killer app right now. Everyone,
game.
Yeah, anybody who has a VR helmet is the VR anything plays Beat Saber.
That's all.
Trevor Saves the Universe as well is a pretty good one. So
it looks like
it is. It's created by it's Justin Rowland and
Squanch Games. I should have guessed.
Yeah, there we go.
And No Man's Sky is always great. Yep. Solid categories, solid nominations, except for Death Stranding.
So Death Stranding's got 9 of them on here. But I mean, this is a pretty good list of what encompassed this year in gaming. And I mean, we saw you and I both looked at this list and we're like, yeah, we played a lot of these games, which is pretty impressive for us, I think.
Oh, and there's also, I guess there's a fan of the Game Awards that can vote for these games.
Right. So there is an award that is handed out by the fans, and so you can go on there and vote and etc. So, but now they've made sure to put a transparency on here, so there is a link for facts and rules and how things are being nominated.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Joe knows better than me, but VR is getting better and better every year. I've only ever done it at PAX, so I get only 1 year at a time. And every year it just gets better and better and better. The problem is the cost. It's getting better and better. The cost. The price is going down.
Like the Oculus Quest is out now, which is standalone, pretty high end hardware on it. It's getting pretty cheap. It's less than the cost of a console at the moment. It's a little more, a little less. But what's nice about it is that particular one as well. They just released the link cable for it, so you basically buy it, you can play it, and then if you wanted to use it as an Oculus Rift for your computer, you buy the link cable and plug it into your computer, and there you go.
But are you going to be able to play Half-Life on it?
Yes. Good question. It has been announced already that the Oculus Quest will support Half-Life
at the lowest graphic settings. Settings.
No, as long as your computer can handle it.
Your computer can't. That's the joke.
It ain't Crysis, man. The source engines have never been a big deal. So that's something that we didn't talk about because you weren't here. Half-Life, man. Half-Life. What do you think about that?
I completely forgot anything about Half-Life. I just, I mean, it's one of those things.
It's mythical.
It's not mythical. It's like, who cares? It's like the new Duke Nukem. I was like, really? Are people still asking for this?
It's too late. I think it's the best way.
It's way too late. And so in my mind, I'm like, well, who's it for? Is it for me who played Half-Life 2 and was enthusiastic about it? Or is it to develop new fans, right? Like, how do you address both groups? I think they're going to suffer from the same thing that Duke Nukem suffered, even though that game was trash. And Star Wars or any of those fandoms that took too long to release a new movie, right? You're just it's going to be very divisive. People are either going to love it or hate it.
Yeah.
And that's an easy prediction, right? If you're listening to me, they're either going to love it or hate it. But I mean, like, it's Half-Life and everyone should love it, but I just don't know. And it's VR only, which is controversial.
It is very controversial to make your next entry in a game that everyone's been wanting.
Everyone's been joking about never getting, and it's finally offered in VR. It's almost like a giant troll. Like, why even bother releasing it at this point?
It's like Diablo Mobile.
It's like, have they learned nothing?
What are you talking about? I don't know why everyone hated it. You've got phones in your pocket.
It's like the 2020 joke, yeah. Who their market is? That's really my question. Is who is their market nowadays? I mean, are the 12 and 13-year-olds who are getting bored of Fortnite going to be excited about this? Who's asking for the VR? This is clearly for people with money, since it's the VR sets, can afford a third console or a fourth console. That
it's weird. It's a weird. I'm lucky to have one. I have a Rift. I'll be playing it, but
you put money into it. I mean, it's not luck, right? You decided to get one.
What I'm saying is, like, I adopted it. I adopted it early enough that I'm going to be fortunate enough to be able to play it. But I feel sad for people that don't want to play VR, just want to play another entry into the Half-Life, and they've locked it behind another piece of hardware. Not only do you need a computer beefy enough to play Half-Life, you're going to need a computer and then the headset to go with it. So it's.
I think. I think it'd be interesting if it works. Like, I think the hope is to get people into VR to build more around it, and this might be the kind of launch game that gets people into it.
Yeah, it's almost like the fans are going to be punished, right? If they don't buy the game, then they're like, "Oh, well, it didn't sell well, so we're not getting any more Half-Life." You obviously aren't interested. No, but everyone is interested. They just don't have the hardware to
play it on their Switch, right? That's
slap their Switch. You're just gonna put their Switch onto their face. There they go. Half-Life. Woo.
Get the hell out of it that way. Sure.
So let's talk about one more thing that I wanted to talk about. Well, a few more things, but there's one particular thing that kind of landed in everyone's lap, and I talk a little bit about retro games every week. This was kind of a big surprise. I don't know if you're familiar with kind of the big debacle that happens every time someone announces some sort of fan project. Someone wants to create a fan game of a current IP, and then you get takedowns, right? So Nintendo, Nintendo's the big one because they have to protect their IP. And when someone will make a fan game using assets of a particular game, and then all of a sudden Nintendo goes, nope, can't do it. And they took a cease and desist, and then the game disappears. It disappears, meaning it's online, but you have to find it in places that aren't normal. Well,
dark places, webs.
Out of the blue, a bunch of review sites, including some big ones, were mailed. Get this, were mailed. 36 copies of this game went out to the media. They were mailed on Super Nintendo cartridges that were Nintendo Power cartridges. Now, back in the day, this is, again, I got to give a little backstory. Back in the day, there was a subscription-based service in Japan, Nintendo Power, like the magazine. In Japan, Nintendo Power had a thing where you could buy a blank cartridge with like 6 slots on it, and you'd go to your game store. They had a machine. You'd put the cartridge in, and then you download or buy a game, and it would program it to your cart, and they'd give you a little sticker, and the sticker would go on one of the little sections on the label. So you plug it in, you get a menu, and slot 1 of 6 had this game that you just bought at the store.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty neat concept. It was way Nintendo doing weird things as usual, way earlier than everyone else. So this guy sent out 36 carts out to the media. No name. No one knows where it came from. And they popped it in to their actual Nintendo.
Something you do with random shit
right?
you get in the mail.
Right. And it boots up, and it is a remake of Super Mario Land for Game Boy and Super Nintendo graphics using all new art assets. Out of nowhere, out of the blue, new music, new content, new art, 4-player co-op. It is the craziest bit of like the entire retro community was like,
dream.
Out of freaking nowhere. What the hell just happened? Where did this come from? There's no name on it. No one knows who made it. This guy literally dropped it out into the universe on purpose. It was like, here you go. Nintendo can't take it down because they don't know who to blame.
Wow.
Yeah. So I've got to check. You got to check this out because
You
it
got a
is.
copy of it? Because it's.
I don't got the entire game. I do. It's up for free. You can download it. No, they put it up. They put it up on archive.org. You can find the link. It's on there. But it's you could play it on an emulator. But I actually popped it onto my flash card and played it on an actual Super Nintendo.
That's ridiculous. Put it up. Let's see how it looks.
So this is an article from Nintendo Life.
Look at that.
Called The Story Behind the New Super Mario Bros. The Homebrew Marvel Intended as a Christmas Gift. The project is terminated already. Like it just came out. It's a remake of this game in the graphic style of the New Super Mario Brothers for DS Lite. And let me see if I can pull up a little. So here we go. Here's what the game looks like.
God, why does every video start with someone talking about what they're going to talk about?
Let's get that clear. For the third time for me. So here you can see. Yes,
4-player start. So if you have a 4-player setup for your Super Nintendo, you can play it. Play it with 4 players. Mario, Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi all show up on
That
screen.
is fun.
Mario Bros. The original on the DS. And, well, as you can probably tell, it's bloody close, isn't it? It really does feel like it. I mean, also bear in mind, this is essentially running on a SNES. This is a SNES game, and it looks like this. Bonkers. I know we've had things like Donkey Kong Country in the past and stuff like that. Well, obviously in the past, everything's in the past. So it shouldn't be that surprising that we're seeing a game of this sort of.
There it is. Isn't that freaking wild? It's a new game made for the Super Nintendo.
That is bonkers.
I mean, usually games like this, there's some sort of like internet talk or buzz or something as it's being made. But no, this just dropped and it's done. Here it is. An entire full game.
And no one's taking credit. No one has said anything.
Nope.
That is
Wonky physics. Like, honestly, when you look at the outside, you're kind of expecting Mario to move in a certain way, and he blooming doesn't. He moves in a way.
It's got the bonus. Nothing. It's not incomplete at all. The entire game from start to finish is here. And he plays it for a while. He makes it pretty far. I mean, all music, levels, etc., all added on here.
that is bonkers. Also makes me want to play Mario Brothers. Every time I see someone play Mario Brothers, I want to play Mario Brothers.
It may be an illusion, I don't know, but it also has proper transparency. Yeah, as you can see it there, and it goes up and down, so it is proper transparency, not just
the water effects on here. It's got these weird transparencies. I mean,
I love the pure wonkiness and joy that it's got transparencies, and I'm like, dude, it's playing like Mario. It looks fantastic.
Yeah. It's just you look at it and you're like, this is a Super Nintendo, but the graphics it's using are from a DS Lite, which came out way after the Super Nintendo. So you're like, how is the Super Nintendo able to handle this? What kind of crazy programming did they do to get it to work? Slow down?
That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
So check that out.
We can all be thankful for.
Yes, we can all be thankful for this guy who decided to drop a new Mario game for free.
Bonkers.
Yeah. That's
one of those things where I'm like, man, did I just waste my life? Is that something I should be doing instead of playing video games? Should I be
making them programming? Oh, dude, I think about that every day before I close my eyes. Oh man.
Every day before I close my eyes.
I'm like, man, I should have been making these games.
Let me show you what I made.
Yes, let's talk about this.
That's something we could be thankful for, right? Well, let me sometimes I have trouble with this.
Ready?
Yeah, do it. So for my D&D game, I took a bunch of my Dwarven Forge sets and made a beautiful Dwarven. Now this is version 1, right? So I put together a little version here. You can see I think you can see the sinkhole right up here. You can see the cool ruined buildings nearby. So the adventure I wanted to put together for my players was a big old Dwarven Forge set full of a city set on top, and then below it, I built a sinkhole that opened up. The city got destroyed, and our players had to rescue people that were attacked by spiders that crawled out of that set. And then attached to it, you can see this wall here On the other side is kind of the other side of the sinkhole. I had built a nest area in the back, complete with eggs and web.
I've always loved those eggs. They look
And
so cool.
They look so freaking cool, right? And then I let me see. Can I share one more? Let's see.
No, go for it.
One more. So one of my players, we actually ran this with my players. So this here is the tower, right? You can see this. It's a paper tower because I didn't want to put too much weight on top of the sinkhole. And I populated the city with all the villagers. And this is something I did with my my daughter. She actually came over and she helped me put together the little. She called this a restaurant, so I put together a little fish fry for the players to enjoy, and villagers all walking around. And at one point, I kind of revealed by having the spiders pop out first. Like I was like, oh, there was a mini earthquake, and then another mini earthquake, and then I had the spiders pop out. And then as the heroes split up to deal with the spiders kidnapping villagers, that's when I had the sinkhole collapse.
So it was like immersion day on Gears of War, man. It was like boom, all of a sudden.
That's exactly right, man.
Showed up.
So here's my guest star was the wizard. So you see that purple wizard on the balcony, kind of looking over that street there.
Yep.
Well, that street disappears. You can see the wagon fall as the sinkhole drops in.
So what did it take? Was it just a big piece that you could just pull off?
So Dwarven Forge. I mean, I don't want this to turn into a pitch for Dwarven Forge, but Dwarven Forge has these amazing. You see the sort of like fabric that I have down there at the bottom of all these pieces. That's got a metal plate inside, so you can actually magnetize Dwarven Forge pieces to it. And it's strong enough that you could put it on top of other Dwarven Forge pieces to sort of build a level as long as you support the middle. So I had a couple of pillars on the inside to support the middle that I then removed when I put it down. You can kind of see one of the pillars right there on the corner of the screen, a nice marble pillar under the houses holding it up. So it all holds it up and balances on top if you balance it underneath.
So is this session over, or are they still?
Yeah, this session is over. They all survived. They rescued all the villagers that were trapped down there. They lost a couple villagers inside the tunnels as they rushed in to get there. But
I have to commend you as a DM, man. Getting through a whole session of this would be like 2-3 sessions in my game, because we could never, like, it would be too much to kind of handle. Like the fact that you were able to like have them play, have them work on top, create the sinkhole, fight in the sinkhole, and then end it is like commendable.
Not only did they fight in the sinkhole, they actually, this is the half-orc paladin about to enter, because I had a spider kidnap one of the villagers and drag them inside that hole into the den, and then they wound up.
Any good loot?
They actually. So thank you, Rolls. I thought it was pretty awesome. I spent all week building it. I had such a great time building it. It was I love putting down this terrain. This is one of my jokes with my players is this is how adults play D&D, right? This is the most ridiculous way to play D&D, and it's such a blast. They actually missed the treasure, so I only put a little bit of treasure inside the pit area, because really this was much more of a reputation mission, where the treasure is really they rescued all these people and their reputation increases in the city. We had a guest star, a good friend of mine, and his character, the guest star's character, actually took all the treasure. So it's sort of like lost to the group. Hopefully he'll come back and share it. But like there was one player there that was constantly like, pick up the treasure, and the other player that was there was like, no, we need to rescue the villagers. So there was a nice like give and take and pull, and eventually the guest star was like, well, I'll just grab it. It's right here, I'll just grab it. So they eventually these are spiders from Descent that I paid, and you can see I've got some villagers trapped in the web there. And that's the half-orc monk coming down the steps there, and then this is them having escaped from the caverns after it collapsed behind them, having rescued everyone. So it was a total blast, great session. If you can get your hands on some Dwarven Forge, just rock it out, because it is. I am thankful for Dwarven Forge, and I love playing. And parts of it are still set up downstairs just because I haven't broken it down yet, because my daughter's still playing with it. So I'm thankful. Man, I am thankful for my players who are awesome. I am thankful for the space and the opportunity to have a space where I can set this up beforehand and we can all play this way. It's been a pretty good year to have all this put together. Man,
that's wow.
Be jealous, Joe, because you don't get to play like this anymore.
Man, I'm beyond jealous, man. I want to sit down and play something like that, man.
I got all the appropriate oohs and ahs. Like when I started having the earthquake, one of the players was totally like, wait, is there something under there? And then when I lifted up the wall, they were like, what? Ah!
Still being able to wow people.
Yeah.
D&D table is
It's a blast. It's a total blast. And I mean, basically, I get to play with toys all day long. It's the best. It's the best way to play.
Oh man. What's the moment, the play of the game for that session?
Ooh, play of the game for that session. So there was this
Good inspiration.
They got a good amount of inspiration, but there was one scene where the half-orc paladin, half-orcs and paladins aren't very dexterous. She actually, the whole thing was collapsing at that time, and I had a little miniature of a kid. So her half-orc paladin ran across to rescue the kid. She failed her dex save, but then used an inspiration to save the kid and took the fall into the sinkhole area and took a ton of damage on our way down. And so cinematically, like, there was this amazing heroic moment where she managed to pick up the kid and toss the kid off so the kid didn't fall into the pit, and then she fell into the pit herself. So I think that was the most cinematic moment for me. And then she sort of lying there on her back, and there's other villagers around, and that's when the spiders sort of crawled out to the holes nearby. So she was down there alone and in trouble because all sorts of stuff was going on. So it was a pretty epic scene. I think it was a pretty epic scene. I kept telling him, like, think about disaster movies, how your hero should behave in a disaster movie as everything's going on and crazy stuff. So this is so thankful for this. I wanted to show it off because I had such a great time putting it together. And I love showing off my Dwarven Forge. It's the best.
So Friendsgiving, are you going to be you're going to be doing some other board game playing?
Yeah, there's I have Dune, so I'm hoping to convince people to play Dune with me.
I want to play Dune so bad.
I'm bringing it to PAX.
Okay.
And if I can't, because it's a big game, a lot to digest, I might just put some family games out there, right? It's kids invited during the day. I'm thinking about running Monty Cook's role-playing game, No Thanks Evil. It's like D&D light, so I might run it for the kids and see how that goes. And it's got an interesting rule set, and that it arcs depending on the age of the child. So like 5-year-olds can play with the character sheets and they don't have to read. But if you can read and you've got like some strategy and gaming background, like a 12-year-old, you actually get access to more skills because you can read them. So now your character is much more powerful, and it's like a vested interest in learning how to read and things like that. So it's got a neat cloth map. It's got some storytelling elements. It's basically like kids in fairyland, right? They just run around and have a good old, I don't know, fighting awful waffles and terrible puns all over the place. So it's what it is. It's like a pun game. It's a dad game to run where you just make bad puns the whole time.
How about the food aspect? The food aspect of Thanksgiving. I think everyone loves that part. What are you doing? Are you cooking? Or are you going to someone's house?
We're going to someone's house, but we were told to bring dessert, so probably we'll bake some pumpkin pie tomorrow and Thanksgiving Day. But I used to host Friendsgiving in New York City, and it was a lot of work, especially like New York City kitchen, a lot of work, and I always went overboard. Like I would order a turducken from Louisiana and have it shipped up, and I would cook it in the oven. And then it turned out I was the only person who ate meat. Everyone else was vegetarian. So it's like,
you had like turducken sandwiches for a week.
Like weeks. I'd have to freeze those. So finally, I was like, it just turns out it really is just about having everyone together and playing games. So that's what I'm excited for. The dog mincer show is on, the dog show is on, and we just have a great time. What about you? I'm sure you folks.
So we're flying. We're driving back. I get off work tomorrow, hopping in the car and driving, doing a 5-hour trek back home to the area. It's gonna.
Did you still have the leaves from last year that I sent you? I saw that video pop up recently.
You know what? I'm sure we do, and they're going to go on the table. They're going to go back on the table. We used them last year. So if you're not familiar with the
turducken, there you go.
So
first time I had turducken was in Texas, and I was like, I must have this again. It was
Rolls. If you're not familiar, you're newer to the show. Pedro and I tend to troll each other during the holidays. There will be more and more talk about trolling.
You got to get better at it. Joe's been on top the last 2 years.
We send each other troll gifts and whatnot. And last year, he sent me a box of trash, which was awesome. And I mean, trash is because we had moved and we're missing the fall, so he literally sent me a box full of leaves. And you oiled them and
we preserved them. We put them in preservative for you, so we
preserved them so they were nice and great looking. They were nice and bright still when we got them, so they wouldn't dry out. But he thought, oh, it's trash, whatever. Haha.
I was like, haha, I sent you lawn trash. Ha ha ha. You enjoy your fall
Sure enough,
trash.
we used them. So what we did is for our table setting, we put the turkey and all that stuff, but we had the leaves out on the table and they looked awesome. So it was like,
You sent me a video.
My mother-in-law was like, thank you, Pedro, for sending me trash.
She was like, and they smell so fresh. She totally like,
they gave it a very autumny feel. Thank you. And somewhere Pedro was like, what just happened? This was supposed to be a troll.
Troll jitsu over here. He just spun it around.
Turned it around. So sure, yeah. That's what ended up happening.
That's that wholesome Texas lifestyle. Those Southerners, like they're not like as acidic as we are up here in the Northeast. They're like, oh, what a great gift. We'll use this. Thank you.
Somehow. So yeah, and then during the Christmas holidays, there's always a troll gift that's sent towards Pedro's way for sure. So I'm already some of it's already being created, some of it's already being.
Oh no!
Yeah, so
oh god, you're gonna send me like some sort of laser burned piece of wood, aren't you? You're gonna be like, oh, you have to put it up on the wall. I'm like, oh. No. Right here, I'll put it up right there. It's gonna be amazing. Right there. And yes, Adam. But we don't. See, that would be like the nuclear option. You don't send Monopoly to your friends. That's not good.
Even a custom etched copy of
Monopoly. Like one you'd feel real bad throwing out because it looked like you spent time.
Stained. It's got like a nice wonderful stain on it. Oh,
I take it back, Adam. That would be an excellent troll gift.
Oh man, who knows what's gonna happen with
everyone. Travel safely, have a great Thanksgiving or holiday or whatever you celebrate this weekend with your family or your friends or both or by yourself playing video games. It's 4 days off, right? Enjoy it. That's what we should all be thankful for, is some time off work, because we're all working way too hard.
If you work on Friday, I'm sorry, I feel your plight. For sure, everyone should be off on the Friday after Thanksgiving. Companies that give us Thursday but not Friday is weird. Just take the Friday off too. But if you work retail, guys, God
bless.
God bless.
God bless. Thank you for your service. Can I say that?
And again, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving again,
everybody.
Guys, episode, I think,
and gals,
guys and gals. He's gonna get me on that, and it's a Southern in me, and it's terrible.
We're gonna be better. Folks, thanks to our fans. Thanks for a full year of the show. I think we're at episode 54, which puts us a little over a year of episodes. So
a little over a year of episodes for sure. And we've been having such a great time on here. And this is our second thanks episode. So I'm excited for it. So it's 2 years now of a thanks episode. So
thanks to StreamYard for finally giving us a service that gives us everything we want. So
yeah, man. Yeah, I've been thankful. There's a couple new features coming soon. The StreamYard guys have been pumping them out. So there's going to be more moderation towards chat and co-hosting soon.
Can't wait.
So guys, thank you so much. Another episode in the can.
Yeah, have a good one, guys. Be kind, everyone. Thanks a lot for watching.
Think and love each other for sure.
Here you go.